Now, for the woman of the hour, let's get her intro. Miss Denise Dominguez. Dancing again. I love how much you're dancing. Before you're even on the camera, you're dancing this much. I can't even imagine what's going to happen when you come on the camera. Oh, my God. Okay, so Denise empowers women globally by having them face their fears and limiting beliefs that hinder them from living the life they dream of. Denise has a clear vision for seeing the trouble spots that they exist in, even stuck situations, and she has the creativity to transform it instantly. Through her own struggles with divorce, Denise has managed to come out of it all with a smiling face and a positive attitude through it all. Denise is an international best-selling author. Her upcoming book, titled Empower the Woman Within, Stepping into Total Freedom, launches June 1st, 2018. That's like 2 days away. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so we're going to get Denise on the screen because she's just dancing and throwing up peace signs and doing all kinds of awesome stuff over here. Denise, you are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us.
Thank you for having me. So excited. Been looking forward to this all day. I'm on the East Coast. So
I love
yes,
it.
I'm so excited, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. We're going to have a lot of fun, definitely. And
Absolutely.
It all starts with the theme of the day, which is patterns and paradigms, which you are, I'm sure, a master and well-versed in. And we want to hear your perspective of these patterns that life gives us, shows us, has us become aware of, that ultimately form our paradigm and our collective set of beliefs. How has that, and understanding those two things and the distinctions that come with them, how has that impacted your life, Denise?
OMG. Though that is so awesome, Chris, because those are the two things that I've been talking about recently. Seriously, because I tell everybody, like, watch for the patterns in your life, because they're telling you something. So for my clients, and what I do and what I talk about is toxic relationships. And when you see a pattern of these toxic people in your life, right? These people are telling you something. So I always say, through my story and everything that I've been through, that my ex is my greatest teacher. He taught me so much because of what he was showing me, right? Everything outside of us is a mirror of us. And yes, the paradigms, holy moly. Yes, I talk about like that women, me being a woman, if you can't see me, if you don't know, I'm a woman. And the history that's being created right now as women, right? What we just witnessed in the royal wedding, and royalty, and where is going on right now, that the old paradigms of what a woman is supposed to be, who she's supposed to be, what she's supposed to do. Hello, we are breaking the glass ceiling. We are changing things. We're stepping up. We are just showing up in woman energy more than ever.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So
the old paradigms of barefoot and pregnant, gone.
Gone. No more. I love it. And I love how you mentioned with your ex, he was the greatest teacher that you had. And they say that if you want to grow yourself, or it's a saying, I should say, not they say, because I don't know who they is, but it is a saying around the world. Society says that if you want to grow yourself, get into a relationship with someone, because their behaviors, their patterns, their mannerisms will trigger everything in you that you haven't dealt with.
Yes. Although I didn't know that at the time, Chris, right? I didn't know that. And here's what I tell everybody. I was pointing the finger at him and saying, you're this, you're that, you need to change this, you need to change that. And never once looking in the mirror and pointing the finger at me and going, wait a minute, Denise, you attracted this into your life. You brought this. It's here in front of you. It's telling you something. I was just, you need to change this. You need to do this, and calling him out on his crap, and never once looking at myself. And that's what we so commonly do. We look at all the people in our life. We go, oh, I come from this, or oh, this and that. And we don't look and go, whoa, I'm a common denominator here.
What am I attracting? What am I attracting? Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, absolutely. Greatest teacher.
So we're going to dive into that story in just a few minutes here. And before that, let's fill our audience in with more about you. I said a little bit in the intro, but why don't you share in your own words what you're doing today and how you help women, and just give us the overview.
So like in the bio says, I help women see their crap right away.
Love it.
Because the truth is that when women come to me, and Chris, you know this, when potential or clients come to you, you know that they're reaching out for a reason. They need they know something's not quite, like whether it's business or relationships or love or dating, whatever, there's something that's not going quite right and I need help. So I'm reaching out. And my niche, my specialty is helping women heal from narcissistic relationships.
Wow.
So my clients have been through and are who I was. So I was in a narcissistic relationship for over 20 years. I was married to him. I have 2 children with him. And at the time, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that I was in an abusive relationship, because that's what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was abusive because he wasn't hitting me or I wasn't being sexually abused. So I didn't put it together that what was going on was going on. So there was emotional abuse, there was traumas, dramas, mental and financial abuse. And so when you meet these people, because there are more men that are narcissistic than there are women. However, there's women out there. When you meet these people, they come on and they're so charming and charismatic and you just instantly like love them. They're so nice. But when you get into a relationship with them, you start to see how things are slowly and subtly shifting. So in the beginning, he's very much into her. He's very much into her needs and what she wants, and he's doting on her. And then when he has her, so to speak, when he's got her, then things start to shift and change. And then the woman looks back and is like, whoa, this is not, they're confused. They're literally like, my head is spinning. And then they think actually sometimes that they're crazy because, everybody loves him. He's a great guy. He's a standing citizen in the community. He may be even like higher up in organizations and religion, churches, whatever. And so then you think, well, I don't like him so much, but everybody else likes him. And then you question yourself, and these are the processes of, so that's what I went through.
What's the time frame that going from, oh, the narcissist loves me and I feel it and it feels great, to what the heck happened? Did I go crazy?
It depends on how quickly the relationship goes. I've heard of some relationships going from dating to marriage in a month.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't get married that quickly. It was 2 years. But I've heard of that. It's real. So it just depends on the two people. If, a psychologist told me one time that if you're extremely attracted to a guy, run for the hills.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when there's that chemistry like that, it's just not, healthy. It's not good.
What about like fostered and cultivated and nourished and nurtured connection and affection and affinity? What about that? What's your opinion on that side of things?
So this personality disorder, because that's what it is, it's a personality disorder, they are emotionally disconnected. They do not know how to emotionally connect. Although they are really good at faking it and you believe it, right? They are incapable of love. And for the audience listening, that may be a hard pill to swallow if you're just realizing that, whoa, I'm married to one. This was, for me, a hard pill for me to swallow because I have 2 children with him. And I thought I was the love of his life. I thought, all the times of I love you, that there was a connection. I thought I was on a different playing field than he was.
Totally.
And so when I learned the truth, it was shocking to me. And we have children. Like, how can you not love our kids? But then when I look back, it all made sense. It all made sense when you look back and think, well, this is why he didn't react the way that I would react or somebody else would react. And this is why this happened. And there was no like true emotion because they're incapable of love.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. So I'm sure we're going to get even more into that. And I'm just firing questions because it's like curious, you know, this is patterns and paradigms at its finest. But let's go back on your journey a little bit and dive into that. Cause I know it's not probably your favorite time in life. Definitely not. And, you still learned a lot from it. So take us back and what happened and what was the wisdom that you gained from those challenging times?
So I was very young. I was 19 and 19, my list of what I wanted in a man was not very deep. And the universe went, you got it. And so, you know, of course, in the beginning, like I said, very charismatic, very charming. And so fell in love very quickly. And everything was going great. Like I said, it starts off so beautifully. And thinking, you know, I was so young. I was 19, got married at 21, had my first child at 23, second one at 24. And just, there was these red flags that were showing up and showing up. They weren't pink. They were red. They were so bright red that any other person would be like, psh, psh, slaps in the face and just been like, okay,
done.
Clearly this is what's going on. But me being Denise and being a very slow learner and blonde, I was like, no, that's not true. And I just, you know, because I was newly married, had a new family. And the last thing on my mind, the last thing that I wanted to happen was for us to break up, for us to have a split family. I didn't want my children to have a part-time father, weekend visits and all that. That was the last thing. But what you fear, you draw near. So getting into my 30s, I was like starting to see like you're talking about the patterns, right? And asking myself, who am I? You know, because I was so caught up in him and his crap and the life that I just lost myself. I didn't know who I was. I was his wife and their mom, and that was it. I didn't know who Denise. In fact, I would introduce myself as their mom or his wife. I wouldn't even say I'm Denise Dominguez.
Wow.
That's how lost I was. And so then it came to, there was a lot of addictions in the relationship. And it came to 2008 when, so with addictions and with him making his own cocktails, basically, of pills, it brought on a lot of depression and, you know, things that were altering his way of thinking and way of being even worse than what we were already dealing with. Again, I didn't know any of this at the time. So 2008 came along and he had decided that he didn't want to be here anymore. And so he attempted to take his life with our 14-year-old daughter in the next room. So this was very traumatic for all of us. This was a total game changer because obviously not a lot of people experience this. And it just really shook our world down to the core. And this was the day that I had told him I wanted a divorce. I had said it plenty of times before, Chris, but the times before, he either didn't take it seriously or the amount of, you know, toxins that were in his body had not added up to the event that happened that day. So that led to, you know, here I am, I was trying to leave him, which now I can't because, you know, now I got to deal with this, right? And that was the pattern in my life. It was, he would create a drama, something, and I would be right behind him cleaning it up, whatever it was, whether it was a lie, a situation. And so now here was the biggest thing that had ever happened in our life. And now I have to clean this up. I have to take care of our children, right? This is so traumatic. And him. And again, I wasn't even a concern. I didn't even think about me. I didn't think about, well, what about me? I've been through this traumatic event too. I was so immersed in taking care of my kids and taking care of him. How are we going to get out of this? How are we going to get through this? So that was 2008. Of course, I stayed again. And 2.5 years later, 2011, another event happened. Not the same, but another event that involved hospitals and psych wards and stuff like that. It's all in the book. And that was when I had finally just had enough. And I finally decided, like, no matter what, I have to disconnect myself. I have to unplug from this craziness. And that's when I left. It was 2011. I left South Florida, where I'm from, and came here to North Carolina with nothing but a futon couch and an air mattress. Wow. Because I was checking out and I was starting over again. And I didn't know what the past, I didn't know what the future held for me, but I knew that it was better than the past. And that's what I was banking on. That's what I was counting on, that the past was behind me and I'm moving forward. So everybody knows when you go through a breakup, there's things that you have to, especially, here I was in my 40s and just coming out of a 22-year relationship that was toxic. Everything had changed. Like the whole dating.
Yeah, society, life.
Everything.
Yeah, totally.
I was like, I have to make a profile and a picture. I have to swipe and like and check and all this stuff. And it was like, here I am again, so naive and just went through all of that process. And it was really just me getting to know myself again. Who am I? Going back to those questions. Who am I? What am I? What's my purpose? What am I here for? And I was here in North Carolina probably about a year, maybe a year and a half. And I had ran his business in Florida. So when I came here, I went back to what I know, which is medical sales. So I wasn't here long. And I was like, this 9-to-5 thing sucks. And so that led me down. You know how it works, right, Chris? The universe gives us little breadcrumbs, nudges us towards the next opportunity, the next, right, whatever we're seeking. And so that led me to finding a business coach and getting into her program and creating an online audience. I had no idea that I was going to turn my story into lessons. I had no idea that I was going to help women globally, help them out of their crap as they are in the crap that I was in. No idea. I didn't even know.
Real quick, what was your biggest resistance to owning that message, starting the business and getting that first client, or, starting to bring in cash flow?
What was my biggest resistance?
Yeah.
Diving deep into me. Diving deep into me, because you have to clean your house before you can clean other people's house. So I was getting on the phone with these women and I was trying to get them into my program that I didn't even have. And
I love it.
And the energy wasn't there, because how am I going to help somebody heal their emotional wounds if I'm wounded?
Totally.
So I literally had to take a step back and I took 18 months without getting on a phone with anybody and just focused on me.
Wow.
Just dove really deep into me and clearing my crap and getting all of the, writing letters and burning them and all of that I had to do to realize and go from anger towards my ex and anger towards my situation of what happened and hurt to seeing the gifts in my garbage and seeing that what I went through is now catapulted me into being able to do what I do now for women.
Love it. I love it.
So,
love it. So that was the biggest challenge, was diving into yourself. Was there any part of that resistance that you were most resistant to? Any part of, forgiveness, shame, guilt, owning your power, making yourself wrong, your kids, your ex, like any part of that?
Guilt. Yes, guilt. Yeah, guilt and shame. And that's when the women come to me, that's where they're at. They're on the guilt and shame. Right. I had a lot of guilt around what I should have done, what I didn't do, what I could have done, right? We all go back to the story and try to recreate it, but it's the past. There's nothing I can do about it. So yeah, guilt and triggers. You mentioned triggers before. So at the time, he was a huge trigger for me because I felt like, we had everything. We had a thriving business, a beautiful house, beautiful cars. We went on vacation everywhere. And you chose your addictions over your wife and kids, your family. And so the trigger was, damn, like, why? How could you, And so that led into me looking again into myself and going, okay, this is not about him. It never was about him. It's about me. It's about my messages that I took on as a truth growing up. It's about the way I was raised and what I believed to be true and what I accepted into my life, because I accepted that abuse. I allowed that to happen. Yeah. Wow. Zero boundaries, right? No self-love. That was me. And so I had to really dive deep into, okay, so where do I start? I got to start loving myself. I got to start having boundaries. I got to start respecting myself, knowing my worth and owning my worth. Because a worthy woman is not going to put up with what I put up with. A woman who knows her worth is not going to accept that behavior in her life. Right? She wouldn't even attract that, because she'd be like, and it's not in a stuck up way. It's not being a selfish person. It's just owning your worth.
Totally.
Yeah.
Wow. So I love that we're diving into this, and you started your business and you started helping these women. What was that path like of growing your business, of impacting more, of speaking? How did that all unfold?
So like I said, I had no clients, right? Because how am I going to help you if I'm not helping myself? But once I did that, I did start to get clients and started, my first group of women. I do group, and they were getting results like quick. Awesome. And I was like, oh, wow, this shit works. Yes.
TSW.
And so, which gave me more confidence. It lit me up, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then, the journey of personal growth never ends. No. It just gets deeper and deeper. So now I embrace change. I embrace challenges. I embrace fears, because now I know how to do that. But it was a journey to get there. So yeah, my clients get results within 30 days, and which lights me up. And Chris, as a coach, we get just as much, if not more, from them than they give to us.
Totally.
It's such a win-win, give and take kind of relationship. And it's a beautiful formation of what growth really looks like.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. So let's start stepping into this freedom, this total empowerment and freedom to show up and own ourselves, and especially the women who are listening to this. What's the foundation we need to know? What do we need to put in place, and how do we build up and create that?
So when I left Florida and came here, I thought that was freedom, because I described it as I felt like I was being let out of prison, right? So I felt that freedom. Wow. I had no idea what more, right? The level of freedom that I was about to experience. So coming out of a controlling relationship, very manipulative, and then once I started to work on myself, and like you said, starting to own my shit, own my own stuff, because that's what it's about. If the more that we resist it and we push it down, it's just like a beach ball. When we take a beach ball and we try to submerge it under the water and we hold it down, what happens every time? It pops back up. Right. And this is what I tell people. I'm like, okay, take that same beach ball. And now remember when we were kids in the pool, now sit on the beach ball. Because we're like, no, this thing is going to stay down here. You sit on the beach ball. So now there's more pressure. There's more resistance, right? You're trying even harder. So what happens with it again? It comes up full force, stronger, more powerful than it was when you were holding it in front of you and trying to submerge it maybe a foot under the water. Wow. So that's the way I describe it. You know, the more we resist, the more it's going to come popping up. This is life. This is how life is. That's why seeing the patterns in your life is so key and such an awareness for you. So I just lost my train of thought. What were you asking me?
How did you build the business and like have it create the freedom aspect, this owning ourselves, owning the women, owning themselves? What was the what's the word I'm looking for? Framework, so that they can experience that freedom.
Well, start with my own growth. So the school that I went to and working on myself, I then had the sustainable tools to pass on to my clients. Right. And oftentimes I experience it with them. So if I assign them something, I do it with them. So it's a team effort. Awesome. We do it together. Right. And I always tell them, this isn't a teacher student type of thing. This is we're together, team. So I would say that is how I did that. And, you know, the more you do it, the more you work on yourself, the more, you know, beautiful gifts that come out of it. I used to just totally go by PowerPoint and read off. Now I can just talk freely and like, what's the topic? Trust, vulnerability, fear. Yeah. I got it. Let's just do this.
Yeah, it's like trusting that the right words will come out is huge. Right. And then also sourcing the wisdom of the group and the community to say, what do you think? What's your perspective? How would you respond to this? And then people can hear it from different angles, and it keeps the conversation alive, is so much more integrative than PowerPoint, point by point.
Right. And, you know, the energy of it. So I'm very much into energy. And what I teach my clients is energy, because when you said like just whatever comes up, that's the energy of it, right? Follow the energy. And what I teach my clients is how they are showing up energetically in life. Are they showing up in woman, daughter, or mother? So it's a triangle. And these are the three archetypes. So the majority of the women that come to me are showing up in mother energy. And this is why they're attracting child energy, because narcissism falls under child energy. Wow. Rescuer is mother energy. So this is what these women are and who I was. I was trying to save my marriage, save him, save the family. I was trying to rescue him, trying to get him off of drugs and blah, 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 blah. And so here I was mothering him, but the more I mothered him, the more he was being the naughty little boy, showing up in child energy. And so what it turned into is that I was enabling his behavior, right? Like think of the spoiled little child. And the mom is like, oh, he's just so cute. We just let him do whatever he wants. Who cares if the bedroom's a mess, right? So the more I was doing that, the more he was showing up in this. And so then by enabling his behavior, it just got worse and worse and worse, which led to, you know, even more toxic behaviors, even more, you know, like I said, attempted suicides and cops and hospitals and all of that. And once I left, Chris, it all stopped.
Wow.
It all stopped. No more. So it's been since 2011, no more. Because there's nobody there to enable his behavior. There's nobody there to feed him, right? That energy of, you could do whatever you want because I'm always going to be behind you cleaning it up. So that's what the energy of what I teach women. Like, how are you showing up? Are you in mother? Are you in child? Or are you in woman?
Wow. So I'm taking a wild guess that says we have to balance those three, right?
Bingo. Well, not only balance, it's more of we have to embrace all of us. So one of the other archetypes that falls under Okay, so let's get back to triggers for a second when we were talking about triggers, because there's an exercise that I do with my clients,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called the trigger exercise. And when I first did this exercise, so who triggers me?
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was him. What triggers me about him?
Mm-hmm.
His me, narcissism, and his addictions,
Mm-hmm.
which both fall under child energy. And how does that make you feel? How'd that make me feel? Right. So we go back to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's about embracing and loving all of the parts of you. So if I'm attracting narcissism and addiction in my life, in my outside world, then I have to look at me and go, where is that in me? And love that part of me, give that part of me a voice. Because the truth is, if whatever we're attracting in our outside world is coming from us. So in order for you to love all of you, you have to love the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can't just love the parts we put on Facebook. Look at my new car. Look at my new boat, right? The showing off part of us that we're like, I'm so fabulous. Right. No, you got to dive deep into the crap that you don't like. You don't have to like it, but you have to love it. You have to love those parts of you. So I had to embrace my narcissistic side. I had to embrace my addictive side. I had to embrace my liar side, all of the things that I was shown growing up that I was, like we said, resisted, because I was like, I am not a narcissist. No. I was offended. I was cursing. I was ready to strangle somebody. But the thing is that not all of our life has been beautiful and pretty and perfect. And that's just the truth. Right. So when we get into self-love and we practice self-love, because self-love is an action, it's a practice, then we have to love all of these parts of us. Like when we have kids, right? You love your kid, even though you may not like the choices he or she may make, but you love your kid completely. Right. So that's what that was.
This part about giving a voice to these different parts of yourself and loving and embracing it. You might not like it, but loving and embracing it and owning that. What does that look like practically? How do we get on the court, so to speak, and do that in reality of owning that part of ourselves?
Okay. So think of it this way. Imagine you have 3 sons in front of you. Okay. Your 3 sons, and 2 of your sons are absolutely, like, amazingly almost perfect. They're just really good kids. They do their homework. You don't even have to ask them. They set the table. They're just they take the garbage out. Let me think of a guy chore. They take the garbage out. They clean the garage. They're just awesome boys. And then you got that one, Chris. You got that one kid who knows how to work your last nerve. He knows how to try your patience, right? But it's not because he doesn't love you or like you. That's just who he is. So now my question to you is, would you take that one son and would you lock him down in the basement and not raise him with the other 2 boys?
No.
No, but that's what we do to ourselves. We take the part of us that we don't like and we lock him or her away. Wow. We don't bring him or her up to the forefront, right? The part of us on Facebook. We lock that part of us away and we push it down. And then we get into adulthood. And then we have, marriages or mortgages or businesses or whatever going on in our life. And we're so focused on being an adult that we don't look behind in the past and heal what is from the past. Wow. And so that's where this comes up, where you have to love all of the parts of you. You have to love your drama queen. You have to love your, troublemaker side, or your scared child. That's another archetype. Bless you.
Thank you.
You have to love all the parts of you. So I use that metaphor because I'm so visual and it helps me visualize it and really get it. So I always think that it's helpful for the other people to get.
So what I heard in something that I could see us doing and our audience doing is sharing about these parts that they don't want to talk about. Now, I'm sure there might be other techniques that we can go back and heal that childhood stuff and from what I see sharing about, like for me, I didn't want to ever be irresponsible. I wanted to be tough and responsible, and like I can take care of and control everything, like my whole life. Like I got it handled. Don't worry, leave me alone. I don't need help. And so I could go on a Facebook Live and just share about some of the costs and impacts in the past of being irresponsible, and be willing to kind of put that out there for people and be vulnerable. And here's who I am now with regards to my responsibility. Here's how you can count on me moving forward to be responsible. Thank you for allowing me to share, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like one of the, so the question is like, is that the therapeutic way to share something like that, or the
vulnerability,
highest, the most effective way to stop holding it down, let it rise to the surface so it doesn't have power over us?
So first, awareness, and awareness is key. So first you had to recognize that in you, right? In order for you to bring that up to the forefront. Totally. Then once you have the awareness of it, then you embrace it. And because here's the truth, it is what it is. It is what it is. The past is the past. It happened. We can't change it. There's no sense in thinking about it. This is why depression and anxiety, and I'm not going to get into that because I'm not an expert, but this is why depression and anxiety is so like an epidemic at this point, because everybody's just so stuck in the past. And they're so worried about the future, and they're not here. They're not here. No. So if you can just embrace who you are right now, this is what I tell women, look at yourself in the mirror right now, flaws and all, and love her, right? Women, I mean, I know men go through this too, but women, we're just so critical of ourselves. There's something wrong, or we have too many curves, or I had a baby and I had a C-section, I have scars, I have this, I have that, I have stretch marks, and I'm ugly, and this is so awful, I don't even want to look at it, and we're so mean to ourselves. So first is awareness. That's key. Once you're aware of these things, then you embrace them. Okay, I have stretch marks. Well, it's all perception, right? Because if I look at my stretch marks and go, this is a beautiful reminder of the baby that I had, right? Instead of going, this is ugly, I hate myself, then embracing that is going to shift and change everything for you, right? Yeah. So awareness is key, embracing it, loving yourself, start talking to yourself like you're talking to your best friend. So to other people, we're like, dude, you're awesome. I freaking love you. You know, we're just like so high energy and so great. And then we look at ourselves in the mirror and it's like, ugh. Yeah, we pull out all the like flaws and we're like, you know, you didn't land that job today, you totally, you know, messed it up or whatever. And we're not our own cheerleader, right? So you have to be your own cheerleader. You have to talk to yourself like you're talking to your best friend. And it takes like such a level of intentionality and awareness to start catching that language. You know, even me, I feel like I've been on this journey for doing personal development and entrepreneurship for 5.5 years, right? But I've been going like hardcore and studying a lot. And I just recently caught a thought, you know, a way that I was like speaking down to myself, and I was like, wait a second, I'm not going to let that go. And I felt like that was the first time I've ever caught that kind of a depressing or disempowering language that I had told myself, you know, like ever. Like it was weird. It was like this new sense of thought that I had noticed. Right. So I'm not saying anyone who's listening, it has to take, you know, years, but just be patient with yourself as you condition yourself to think new thoughts, new paradigms, new patterns, because it takes time. You got to look in yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you. You know, I love that I'm irresponsible. I love that I'm, you know, I'm in a scarcity mindset sometimes. I love those parts of me. And I choose to focus on the abundance. I choose to focus on the empowerment and being my greatest possible self. Right. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for saying that, because that is where there's the disconnection, right? We don't know quite how to embrace, okay, I'm supposed to love my scarcity side. I'm supposed to love that part. Yeah, you are. Yeah. And here's another thing that you just said, Chris, that's really great, is that it does take time. It does take patience and kindness, because from the age of 4 years old and younger, because we're born perfect. Emotionally, we are born emotionally perfect. Our emotional bodies are perfect. But 4 years old and older, is when we start to take on the muck of life, but the messages, the crap, whatever it is, whether it's through TV, social media, mom and dad, church, it doesn't matter. The point is that we take it on as a truth, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not this. And then we get into adulthood and then we're completely covered up with all of this crap. So in order for us to retrain, rewire, or deprogram, however you want to verbalize it, it's going to take some time.
Yep.
Yeah. It's going to take time. So that's where the patience comes in. Be patient. It's going to take time. It's not going to be a one and done overnight thing.
Right. And it's interesting because we live in this like creator. We're talking about spirituality and energy, right? And we're living in this creator universe where each of us is the creator of our own reality, and what we say, for the most part, goes how we interpret things. So the one thing I want to offer to you listening is, yes, it's going to take time. Be anticipating that, be expecting that, be ready for that ride, and choose it to be easy whenever possible. Choose it to happen quickly whenever possible. Say, I choose easy. I choose, smooth. I choose this journey to be fun and enjoyable and full of love and experiences and adventure, and it to be easy. Now, when it doesn't match your expectations, then just know that that's a reflection of what's going on inside of you, that you still have deeper work to do with things not being in alignment with what you say. You say, I want easy, I'm creating easy, but something else shows up. You know there's an incongruency in your subconscious, in your energy, that you have to dig out and heal or replace or whatever it might be.
Beautiful. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So freedom. I'm committed to more freedom, Denise. What are my first steps? How do the women who are listening right now? What are the steps that they take to really experience that freedom?
Well, the thoughts, your thoughts, like that's like, where did I read that? I just read that in a book that we're all free. God gave us free will. So no matter, even if you're in cage and you're in prison, you're still free because you have choices. You have the freedom to think and believe whatever you want. Yeah. So it starts with your thoughts. And like you were saying, choose to think. That's such a big word right there. Choose to think what you are wanting in front of you. Mm-hmm. So if, let's just say that is your perfect soulmate, because a lot of the women that get on the phone, they want the right guy. Okay, great. So if you want this right guy, then you create him in your mind, how he's going to treat you, how you're going to feel, with him, how the relationship's going to be, and then move towards that. So it starts with your thoughts, because our thoughts are energy. We speak it, we write it, we're bringing it into existence. So your freedom, we're all free. That's the freedom. People just don't know that we all have that freedom. Wow. So your thoughts are your freedom.
Beautiful. Free
yourself from that.
And then where do you see most women getting hung up on? They started working on their thoughts. They're doing the work. They're writing down this description of the dream guy, the dream life, the perfect everything that they want. Where do they usually get hung up?
They have deep-seated crap. And I can say that because I have deep-seated crap. Totally. It's not, and this is, I'm not any different than anybody else, right? I'm not special. Right. So I always say, listen, if this girl can move from South Florida to North Carolina with nothing but a futon couch and an air mattress and rebuild herself back up, rebuild her life, and build a business and have, the laptop life, anybody can do it. I'm not special. I'm not better than you, Chris, or better than our listeners. I'm exactly the same. We're all the same. So it's a matter of taking action into what it is the next level of your life. So what does that mean? It may start with listening to this. It may start with a self-help book. But in order for us to I would not be here where I am if it wasn't for my coaches. I mean, that is Amen. Just the God's honest truth.
Amen.
I would not be here because I needed somebody to hold me accountable. Yeah. And for me, I've done the online things. Yeah, they're great if it's something short and quick, but if you want to get to the gusto quickly, you have to have somebody kicking your butt or holding your hand. You have to have that accountability to go, okay, where is it you want to be, Denise? You want to be here? And what amount of time? Here we go. And push you towards that. Yeah. If I didn't have my coaches, I mean, honestly, I don't know where I would be. And I say coaches because there's multiple, there's more than one.
Absolutely. And you know what I love about that is people often attempt to do the least amount of effort, time, money, energy as possible. It's great to be efficient, all for it. And if you've done programs, you're listening right now, if you've done programs before or tried things before and it hasn't worked out and you're wondering why, and you have resistance to trying new things, you have resistance to coaching, you have resistance to these other things, then ask yourself, like, did you really give it your all? Were you really willing to go as deep as it requires, especially with coaching, whether it's group coaching or one-on-one coaching? Like, that coaching there's a mastery of coaching between client and the coach, that the coach is able to hear and see and distinguish these tiniest, subtlest things that you're asleep to. You're like unconscious. Yep. I promise you're unconscious to these to these tics, these patterns, these things that are keeping you stuck. And because you've been attempting to do it on the online route or the easiest, cheapest, fastest way, you might not have broken through, and you might be experiencing some resignation. You might be not really getting where you want to go, and you're frustrated, and you feel like all hope is lost. Well, my invitation to you is to give a coach who you resonate with a shot. Have a conversation. Usually they do strategy session for free or a small fee to help you get accustomed to their feel, their vibe, whatever it might be. Denise is showing up here as that coach for you if you're a woman and you want to take that next step. She's been clearly demonstrating she's done the work. She has tons of techniques and experience to help you break through your BS. So I just wanted to say that if you're out there listening and you're wondering why those things don't work, because me and Denise were talking about this the power of a coach is can't be compared.
Powerful.
It can't be compared. It cannot be compared to the amount of growth that is available when you work one-on-one or in a group coaching setting with someone for that accountability to grow into your greatest possible self. It is unreplaceable, irreplaceable.
Yeah. I wanted to demonstrate this. La, 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 la. The universe is just going to bring it to me. So I'm just going to do, I call them the free hoppers. I'm just going to opt in and get their free gift. And that's going to be good enough. And things are going to change. I get these emails all the time. I love you, but you are you're going at such a slow pace. Wow. And so they see results, and that's great. And I'm not downing that at all. Yes, you see results, but you're still not where you want to be. And so for me, from 2014 to today, that's when I hired my first business coach, was 2014. I'm a completely different person. My business is completely different. It's 4 years.
Wow.
4 years. That's nothing. You, Chris, 5.5, what'd you say? 5.5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, do you even recognize the person that you were that 5 years ago?
No way. No way.
Did you think 5 years ago that you would be doing the podcast and connecting with all of these people worldwide?
Nope.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. So, it's a choice. Do you want to move like a turtle, or do you want to push it forward and really create?
I think that's the energy is, are you someone who's like, I'm committed to getting as much juice, experience, fun, adventure, love, excitement, possibility, my dream man, as quickly as possible out of life, right, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. If that's you, then coaching is your fastest path to get there. Now, if you want to take your sweet time and drag your butt, then maybe it's not the one-on-one coaching or group coaching isn't the perfect fit for you, and you can keep doing your thing. But if you're willing to get uncomfortable and you're willing to put yourself through the paces to actually have the life that you say you want as quickly as you say you want it, coaching is the path.
Totally.
That's right.
Totally.
So, Denise, we're wrapping up now, and we got some serious firepower that we put into the and
Yes.
we want to know, the final takeaways from this interview, what we want our women walking away with or showing up with because of their time invested here today.
Okay, final tips, final thoughts. I always say, love yourself, be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, right? Own your worth, know your worth, because a woman, I always ask this question, if I truly and deeply loved myself, would I have endured 22 years of emotional abuse?
Wow. Nope.
Exactly. Exactly. So love yourself, be patient, be kind. Yeah.
Wow. Love yourself. Be patient. Be kind. So, Denise, how can these women continue to love themselves, be even more patient, and even more kind with you on their journey? How do they take that next step with you, and what do we want them to do next?
They can go to my website, which is my name, DeniseDominguez.com. And on there, there'll be a little pop-up, and it'll say, put your name and your email. If they do that, they will get my 90-minute training call, my self-love training call. And I dive deep into the archetypes that I was talking to you with you, Chris,
Cool.
how they're showing up, how they can embrace those parts of you. It's a complete 90 minutes. I always tell people, take it in chunks, maybe 15, 20 minutes, stop, take notes, and then come back to it. Okay. But yeah, it's a full 90 minutes of me showing you how to love yourself.
I love it. Awesome.
And I'm all over social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah.
All over. Denise.
All over.
You are rocking it. I'm super excited to see you sharing your message even more, getting on bigger and bigger stages, and making such a big, big difference in all these women's lives. I appreciate you, and everyone who listened today got massive value. For you listening, take the next step. Have a conversation with Denise. Go get that training, and you will be so happy and grateful and joyful that you did. So, Denise, thanks so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Chris. I'm honored that we got to connect. Thank you so much.
Yes. Just the beginning. Have the best day ever. Woohoo!
Woo! Yes.
I love it. We'll see you soon, okay?
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.